Thank you, Amanda, and welcome everyone to Dharma Sunday. I'd like to start us off with some practice this morning or afternoon or noon, depending on where we are. So I'm going to begin by just calling into the field, into the space, your space where you are, your field of support, your field of benefactors. So just inviting you to close your eyes for a moment and to let that field come into your space. And we never know who's going to show up on any given morning or day, practice period. Your transcendent benefactors, like the Buddha or Tara or Kalima or Shiva or Jesus or Mary, and the worldly human benefactors, maybe our grandmother, an aunt, an uncle, parent, child, friend, guides and teachers in human form. I'm calling on all those energies of kindness and wisdom, inviting those in whose presence you feel safe and loved. Your refuge field. And opening eyes, moving to gallery view if you can with your navigation tool in the upper right hand corner to connect to our live benefactor field of Sangha, the ones who are here right now with us. Oh, yay. And so now, even if we're completely alone in our house or dwelling, we are not alone. We're fully connected to the web of kindness in our lives, the web of bodhicitta, we say, the good intentions of love and compassion. Just feeling into that, receiving that in your body. And Amanda, if you can bring up for us, we'll say the refuge prayer together. It's just a prayer to express what we've just done, a prayer to express connection to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, but essentially our benefactor field, our kind ones, the ones with whom we feel safe and loved. Sanje chudan sochi chonama Changchu Bardu Dani Chasu Chi Daki Jinso Chi Pe Sonam Chi Dola Penjin Sanje Drupo. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until enlightened. By the power of generosity and the other perfections, may we realize Buddhahood for the benefit of all. Having connected to our refuge field, held by this circle of love and kindness, we can again connect. Let's again connect to the gallery view for a bodhicitta practice, the brief bodhicitta practice. This bodhicitta is the heart of our intention, the intention to practice for the benefit of all beings and to open our hearts to connection and love for friend, enemy, and stranger. And so just taking a moment to let your eyes drift, to take in Sangha and to let your eyes alight. Let your eyes alight on someone in this field, in the Zoom field here, and just wherever your face, wherever your eyes alight on whichever face, and then giving rise to this prayer for this individual. May you have ease and the causes of ease. May you have happiness and causes of happiness. May you have joy and the causes of joy. And letting your eyes drift. And just again, it's drifting, taking in your field and letting the eyes alight on another face, maybe someone you've never met or seen before, even someone new to you. And letting the prayer come to your heart. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May you be free from sorrow and the causes of sorrow. May you be free from fear and the causes of fear. So you can return to speaker view if you prefer, or you can stay with gallery view as you like. And I invite you to turn your chair or slightly orient your body away from the screen so that we can be together but not on screen in that way, so that we can practice, move into the space of our mindfulness together. I will do the same. We may want to orient towards a window. Some people tell me they like to look at the screen, at the sky here, which is also all right, if that's helpful for you. And just beginning the practice now with coming down from our thinking mind and into the feeling body. And to help us come down into the feeling body, letting your attention come all the way down to the base of your body where your body meets the earth, meets the cushion or the chair. And just noticing how down there at the base of your body, you are already steady, stable, and grounded. This body as the earth body, the Gaia body. Now that you are grounded, notice what residue of feeling is here. Is a residue from your day or your morning, maybe residue from the week or this last month. What you're holding in your nervous system. Maybe fear, uncertainty, depression, or grief. Loneliness, maybe ease, lightness, just noticing what residue has followed you to the cushion. There might be a story with that residue. There might be a thought story, or it might be more visceral feeling of dis-ease or discomfort, or it might be physical. But whatever that is, looking for where that residue lives in the body right now. Where does that live in your earth body right now? Might be in the belly or the shoulders, the neck, the chest, the heart. Just noticing where it's living in your earth body, in your body, and the quality of that feeling, tightness or heaviness. Could be feeling is hard to put into words or adjectives. This is fine too. Just noticing. And now that you've found your residue of feeling in the body, on an inhale, breathing space around your beautiful feeling. Continuing to breathe around your beautiful feelings, breathing space, letting in the light with every breath. Welcoming your beautiful feeling just as it is. And you might want to say to your feeling, I'm not going to fix you. I'm not going to manage you. I'm not going to suppress you. I'm not going to avoid you. I'm not going to put the Dharma on top of you. I'm just going to come alongside you and be your friend, my beautiful feeling. And as you continue to breathe, just breathing light and love, filling that space around your beautiful feeling with a loving attention. And you may want to say to your beautiful feeling, please come and meditate with me. Please practice with me. So we will take a 7-minute stretch break, bathroom break right now, and we will be back at 1:15. Welcome back, everyone. I remember back when I was first drawn to meditation practice as a child. I was a bit of um, a curious girl and drawn to the idea of looking inside the self, looking inside the mind. And when I first encountered meditation practice, which was pretty young, I was 8 years old, from a swami in an ashram in Berkeley, California, where I was growing up in the 70s with the right down the street from um, Synanon and other famous cults. Jim Jones was in Berkeley for a while in the 70s, but also some wonderful, wonderful um, communities and centers too. And so, yeah, introduced to meditation by a Swami at the Transcendental Meditation Center in Berkeley. And I remember even then, being fairly young, when you're even 8 or 9, you have a sense that there's such a thing as agitation and calm. Even when you're that young, it's not hard to notice that there are states in which you feel fearful and agitated, and states in which you feel calm and relaxed. And maybe that was the first time that that was pointed out to me explicitly, that there are those states and that there's this practice called meditation. It helps you intentionally bring yourself from the agitation and the angst and the fear and the um, restlessness to a state of calm and ease. And of course, it's a compelling message. And even then, to me, it was a compelling message. Oh, intentionally down regulating the system, intentionally bringing ourselves into ease. And it is one of the superpowers of the magic. It's the magic of practice that that's possible to do. It's magic. We can enact this magic of soothing our own nervous system and of bringing ourselves from a state of arousal to a state of greater space or openness and relaxation, that we can do that on through techniques. That's amazing. It's incredible. But it isn't the whole story of meditation. It's the story we begin with, and maybe the story that we need to walk in the door with is that it's possible to find ease. It's possible to find calm, to develop the skill of becoming calm. But then what happens, of course, as soon as we sit, as soon as we start to practice, if we're serious and we do it again and again, if we begin to cultivate a regular practice, we start to sit with ourselves in stillness every day. You'd say stilling the system, bringing the body into a motionless state and letting the breath calm down, letting the mind calm down. We start to do that, and we start to do that, we make space in the system. And as space opens up in the system, everything has room to arise. So things that we have been keeping down, patting down the dirt on during the week, keeping under the surface during the week, we sit for a meditation session and those things start to arise. Of course they do, because they have room now, they have space. We're not busy, we're not distracted. And so those things begin to arise. You might say the feelings begin to arise. And for some of us, that's a surprise. Like, what? I didn't even know that was down there. And our initially, it's like many things arising, and it feels like whack-a-mole. This arises and we try to calm it down, and this arises, oh, we try to calm that down. This arises, oh, let's put this practice on top of that one. And ironically, if that becomes our practice, um, and that can take many forms, like labeling. We label the feeling frustration. We label the feeling, and then we return to the breath. We label the feeling agitation, and then we return to the breath. That's one way we might work with it, so to speak. Or we might try to pour the breath into it, or pour our calmness into it, or put our calmness on top of it, or try to saturate it with calmness. We might try to bargain with it. Just go away so that I can practice. Just stay out there, or put it in a box. I'll look at this later, but I'm not going to look at this now. Put this in a box and then put it on the shelf and keep practicing. Now that seems, it seems okay, that might be a temporary solution, but what have we done really with that feeling? What have we done with that feeling? We have compartmentalized it, and we may have labeled it, but we have pushed it to the side. We have bypassed it. We have bypassed it. And so what I'm hoping to bring to this teaching today is that it's possible to do other things than do that. Um, and I think there's a danger in bypassing. There's risks in putting it in the box and putting it aside. There are risks that we won't come back and open the box, open our Pandora's box, and really meet what's there. So what I want to introduce in this Dharma Sunday is the recognition that, sometimes we may think that spiritual bypass, which is avoiding the things that we need to look at in favor of our practice, avoiding the monsters that we need to metabolize in favor of calmness, what we think is calmness. That when we do that, we are bypassing, and we may think that's something that other people do. Spiritual bypass is something that other people do. Those teachers who stray, for example, oh, that was a spiritual bypass situation, as if we don't know what that is, or we don't do that. So just to say, this spiritual bypass may even be a inevitability of being a practitioner of meditation, that we may need to go through a phase of doing that, a time period of doing that, before we begin to realize that actually our practice space is the place to metabolize and to meet the feelings. And that our approach, our strategy, our usual strategies of suppressing, avoiding, othering, fixing, uh, soothing, our strategies of avoidance don't have to be played out on the cushion, that we do have alternatives. We have powerful alternatives for working with feelings. And in fact, the feelings, they are the key to our freedom. It's the feelings, the agitation, the depression, the grief, the fear, the um, the anger, the irritation, the dis-ease, the indecision, feelings of indecision, feelings of loneliness. All of those feelings are beckoning for our kind attention. They're beckoning for us to meet them in a different way, a way that actually invites them into the meditation space, invites them to practice with us. I think one of the the things that we don't so much get through the ancient teachings of the Dharma is a reflection on the reality that we are spiritual beings. We are beings of consciousness. We are miracles of consciousness, capable of being aware that we are aware, capable of recognizing the divinity within ourselves and others. We are miraculous beings like that. And the part that the tradition doesn't talk about so much, and we are also animals. We are, to use the words of the tradition, sentient beings. But I want to use the words of science, that we are animals. We are divine, and we are also nervous systems that are ancient and have evolved to survive. We are nervous systems that have evolved to survive. We are animals. And as animals, we have feelings. And those feelings are good for us in the sense that they are designed to keep us safe, and they're designed to protect us. So our fear, designed to protect us, designed to help us survive. our anger, our aggression, designed to protect us and designed to protect the ones that we love, designed to protect our home, the planet, Gaia, designed for that. So as animals, we are beings of feeling. We are beings of arousal, and we're also beings of calm, both. And that's not an aberration. I think that's where we can get um, tangled as practitioners, to think that our feelings are an aberration or that they are a disease in the system. Our feelings are beautiful. Our feelings are portals. They are doors into awakening, doorways into awakening, just like calm is a doorway into awakening. Feelings can also be a doorway into awakening. And how? How? So I think the key to the how is accepting our feelings as they are, because they are doing something for us. Now, it may be that their usefulness has expired, or their usefulness is inappropriate for the situation at hand, or rather the degree of arousal is inappropriate for the situation at hand. So we do need tools to regulate our feelings. We need tools to work with our feelings. But ultimately, they are our beautiful monsters. They are our friends. And so our practice, we can develop a practice that really honors them, that welcomes them and that honors them, and begins. And when we welcome and we honor the feeling. So let's take a feeling. Let me take an example of a feeling instead of talking in generalities. So a feeling that I struggled with a lot in the last few years, couple of years for me, has been a feeling of loneliness, which is kind of new to me, in the sense that I don't feel that my life has been a lonely life. My life has been full of connection and full of people and full of friends and family and pets. But I went through a phase during the pandemic when things fell apart for me a little bit. They fell apart. And when they fell apart, um, there was departure and loss. There was death and departure. And in that wake of the departure and the loss, I felt deep, painful loneliness, the kind that I now know many people feel. I have a sense that many people feel a loneliness that almost feels like physical pain, because now I've tasted it. And it was beautiful that I tasted that. So taking that, for example, I'm taking that as my own example. So that um, that loneliness, while it was painful, had a function. Like when I really looked at that loneliness, the loneliness was calling to me to become connected. It was saying, you are better off connected. You need to find connection. That was the wisdom of the loneliness. So every feeling has a wisdom. So when the feelings arise, asking, what is your function? What are you trying to do for me? Because you're trying to do something good for me. You're trying to do something good for me. It was pushing me towards connection. And so how did I work with it in practice? How did I work with it in meditation? Very much like what we just did together here this morning. A practice of, in the beginning of meditation, inviting the feeling to be present. Now, sometimes when we sit, it's whatever the residue of feeling is that's been following us around, it rises up and becomes very apparent. Like we're trying to sit and we just can't stop thinking about that thing or feeling about that thing. And it just keeps arising, and we're trying to push it down so we can focus on the breath, or we're trying to push it down so we can gaze at the sky, trying to push it down so we can be peaceful. The alternative is no, don't push it down. Invite it to take a seat with you, fully take a seat. And one of the ways we can start to do that is by noticing, where does that feeling live in our body? Because the feeling has a real presence in us. And it's not just mental. It's not just the story. In my own case, the story of my aloneness. There's actually a feeling of loneliness or aloneness. And I'm feeling it in my heart as this heaviness, this weight pulling down towards the earth. You can feel it in your body. It takes a while to get in touch with it. But if, or maybe if it's agitation, you're feeling it in your shoulders, you're feeling it maybe in your gut. If it's depression, maybe feeling in the heart. If it's grief, the heart maybe, but looking for where it is, finding it, and then making room for that in the body and your nervous system, making room for the feeling to be present. And ironically, when we do that, the feeling feels safe with us. The feeling feels acknowledged by your higher consciousness, feels loved by your higher consciousness, and it can relax. Now it can relax. Oh, thank you. You see me. You know me. And you love me. Oh, thank you. And suddenly, we're not afflicted, not so afflicted by this feeling anymore. It may not be gone, but we're not afflicted. We're happy to be with the feeling. It's a very different experience. And it yields this portal, this opening in the feeling, this crack in the feeling that lets in light and space so that we can practice with feeling, that we can practice in animal body, in earth body, not having to separate ourselves into a higher plane away from that. But this is the portal right here, right now, just like this, just like we are. And of course, many of you may recognize this practice or may have one like it. Compassionate presence to feelings, John McCransky calls it. Beautiful monster handshake practice, Soni Rinpoche calls it. My own words for it are befriending practice, befriending the feelings, and finding the feeling wisdom, befriending and finding the feeling wisdom, developing a deeper love for all the parts of the self in their feeling nature, and inviting them, just like we might invite the pantheon of deities, the wrathful ones, the peaceful ones, um, the jealous ones, fearful ones, the angry ones, all the pantheon of divine ones. We invite them to surround us or practice with us in the same way that we might do something like that. We're inviting our beautiful feelings, honoring them. And when they relax like that, we act out less. We act them out less. And we find their powerful energies, their superpowers. Every feeling has a superpower. Every feeling has something special in it that can help us if we let go uh, of the othering. So feelings can be this portal to practice, this portal to a deeper self-acceptance, and even a portal to wakefulness, because ultimately the feelings, they are not separate from this divine consciousness that we think is somewhere up there, maybe, or in here somewhere. That divine consciousness is not separate from those feelings. They are co-mingling, co-extensive. They are non-dual. They are advaya or advaita from your consciousness. So finding that this loving relationship to the feelings opens into a realization that we are one with the feeling, that our awareness, the capital A, is one with the feeling. Those are some reflections for today on feeling wisdom. And I want to open it to you all, to this field of benefactors, to reflect on that, or questions, comments, reflections, experiences that you had as we just practiced together, curiosities, challenges too, to that perspective. Most welcome. And you feel free to raise your hand, and Amanda will help me with, or maybe Raylan. Mm. I can ask you questions too. We can do Q&A that way. Always happy to do that. How do you cope with your feelings?
We have Natalie raising her hand.
Thank you for this subject. And this is a little bit about how I cope with my feelings, but it's also about some of my resentments. One of my resentments was I felt like I was in different situations in life and I didn't read the room right. And I made it a point to try and develop skills in that area. But I found that even as I develop skills, sometimes I perceive things and I had reactions to what I would say or what I would perceive, and I felt bad about that. And it wasn't until a lot of self-examination that I realized my reaction, my feelings, and whatever I brought up in others were real. And I was addressing something that was real, but others didn't want to perhaps hear it or perhaps go there. And that was hard for me to understand. But they were real, and I had to be with that and experience the discomfort of some rejection from other people. Like, how could you talk about that? How could you feel that? How could you say that? And that was very hard for me. I'm getting more comfortable with that and realizing that any number of people have talent for seeing things that are really bothersome and pointing it out. And there could be someone that says, how could you say that? How could you do that? You're wrong. You're bad. But there's so much truth in that. And for me, I guess it's involved having faith in myself, having a spiritual backbone to say, if that's what I feel, it's really what I feel. And that's been an area of growth for me. And I want to remind you, Lama Willa, that about 10 years ago, at one of your Dharma Sundays, you laid out a bunch of lojong, and they were the cards, and one of the cards said, whatever you resent, that is what you're supposed to work on. And I remember there was the one about the ox and there was the one about resentment. And I knew I had resentments and I picked resentment. And to this day, I still have that card. It's here at the desk somewhere. I'm glad I didn't pick the oxen one. But that seems to be the path one of the paths that I need to be on in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie, for sharing that. And it sounds like you're working with something that is so universal. Regrets or shame, you use the word resentment, but regrets or shame for things that we've said or done, and we look back and we realize it was unskillful, and that can be very hard on us. Yeah, so, and this practice can help us work with those. Yeah, work with regret, work with shame, and work with getting into the deeper place, the feeling itself, and loving it, loving that feeling. Beginning, I think one of the things that inhibits our ability to work with it is we don't love it because we associate the feeling shame, regret with suffering. We associate it with suffering. But when we start to put aside the story a little bit, which is what you've been doing. You've been working with the story. Maybe my story isn't totally correct. I heard you saying, maybe my story isn't totally true. Maybe I'm one of those people that just speaks up and says what's true and what I feel, and that's valid. You're working with the reframing a bit, which is also a very powerful way to work with those feelings. But then also, okay, and I have this feeling of shame or regret, and that lives in my body, that lives in my nervous system, so I can come alongside that and love that. It's beautiful. Thank you, Natalie, for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Melissa.
Hi. Um, I
Hi,
had
Melissa.
I had a question about what you were talking about with cultivating acceptance and compassionate presence to feelings. That's something that I've really been trying to cultivate in my practice, and I still find myself often falling into the pattern of resistance and just some sensations or emotions will come up that feel overwhelming, and I'll see my mind trying to push them away. And even though I have felt some degree of acceptance before, and I know that that's better, so I was wondering if you have guidance for how to cultivate more acceptance when noticing resistance coming up with overwhelming sensations and emotions.
Mm. I should say, I should definitely caveat this. I mean, not in particular in response to your thing, your question, Melissa, but that when feelings are really overwhelming, like a trauma response, we may need other kinds of intervention other than this practice. The practice may not be the only thing that we're going to be doing. It might be something that we work with, but I just want to say that, sometimes what we need is psychotherapy. We need someone to be in the trenches with us, because being in the trenches alone with it is too much. We need someone to help us hold the overwhelm. And also sometimes we need medication. I mean, I've actually been more and more understanding the power of medication at the right time. I'm not saying you in particular. I don't know your situation, Melissa.
Yeah,
But
no, I
I'm just saying for
understand.
some people, it's surprising how much it can be a chemical imbalance. Sometimes those imbalances are temporary, and sometimes they are not temporary. Sometimes they're longer term. But I've come to appreciate that more, and also, myself, during the pandemic and when I had things fall apart for me, I took medication for the first time in my life for anxiety. And I understood it at that point. I was like, oh, I see. This helps one function when one cannot function due to overwhelm. I see. This is actually a powerful tool, and I will not dismiss it. So, yeah, just appreciating that. But also, yeah, just, Melissa, that, working with the overwhelm, um, can one thing that can help with that is just not necessarily going for the hardest monster first, like working with less overwhelming feelings and acceptance with them before we go on to work with the harder ones. So it's okay if it's a struggle and you feel resistance. And sometimes we feel resistance because what happened to us, because things can happen to us. Maybe something happened to us that was not okay. And that can trigger the resistance because we're like, no, this isn't okay. I don't accept. And it's okay to not accept what happened to us, but to accept the feeling. And that's where we have to have some wisdom for discernment too. What happened to us may not have been okay, but the feeling, that's what we're working to be okay with. That our feeling response is a wisdom response to what happened to us. It's trying to protect us. It's there's a kindness to our feeling. And that's what we need to explore, to work to see how it's functioning to keep us safe in some way. It may be over triggered, it may be over functioning, but it's trying to keep us safe. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Melissa.
you.
Yeah.
I have follow-ups, but I'll save them. But if nobody has their hand up later, feel free to come back to me.
Well,
Thank
there's only one person that has their hand up right now, so I would say follow up now. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, when you were saying not to necessarily go into the most difficult emotion, um, yeah, sometimes it often just feels like I'll be practicing and then it just bubbles up and then I'm in it and
Okay.
it doesn't really feel like then it feels like my best option is to practice with it to the best of my ability. So I was wondering if you have recommendations for how to navigate that or maybe control that, or if there's some way of not just having the overwhelming emotions come up and
Hmm.
like being able to do things a bit more gradually like you were recommending.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Well, if it comes up, it comes up. So there's no, that's right. We can't always control that. And then I would say to just take it step by step. Like, where is this feeling in my body? That's first step. And then how does it feel in my body? Where can I locate it? Where is it? And then start to inhale around it, space. Make space for it. Make room for it. And say to it, it's okay for you to be here. It's okay that you're here. It's all right that you're here. It's okay that you're here. And that might be as far as you go. That might be as far as you go. So also not trying to go too far, but just see if you can go that far. It's okay that you are here. It's okay that you're here. You are a beautiful monster. And I don't know you yet. I don't know you fully yet. But I'm here to listen. I don't know you fully yet. I think why we're afraid, why it's hard, why we resist doing this practice is we're afraid of what the beautiful monster might be holding or might do. And we don't know it yet. We don't know it fully yet. We still may have questions for it. You know, what do you need to tell me? What do I need to hear or see? It's knocking on your door. It's asking for your attention. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
But sometimes maybe you need a friend in the trenches with you. I don't know if you have a friend in the trenches if you're in therapy, but that can be helpful sometimes too. Just to have someone else to witness what's happening, witness that beautiful monster with you. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Melissa. Yeah.
Next up is Margaret.
Hi, Lama, Willa, and hi, everybody. Hi.
Hi, Margaret.
Most of my meditation practice has been just focusing on the breath. And when thoughts or feelings come up, I've been taught to say, not now. So what you said today was like spinning my head around in circles. Um, So I guess I just want to thank you because it seems like a very worthwhile thing to do rather than saying not now and trying to force the feeling away, to actually be with it and to just rest with it. And the other thing you said that was so new and important to me was, where is it in my body? Find it in my body. And I tried that this morning and I couldn't find it in my body. So I think I need a lot more work with that. So I wanted to thank you and see if you had anything else to say.
Thank you, Margaret. And I think it's worthwhile to not say not now. You don't have to say not now, and you can still develop the skill of focusing on the breath. I think that's the main message that I want to get across. It's not that you don't want to have concentration on the breath. You do, but you don't want to do it at the expense of putting your feelings in a box and putting the box on the shelf. You want to integrate. So I glad to hear that you're open to integrating. Yes. And yes, it takes a while to find feelings in the body and to notice how they're manifesting because it's subtle. Stress is subtle. Stress is subtle, but we can get in touch with the signals of stress in our body. We begin to notice those signals of stress, and we can attune to those signals, and we can meet those signals in the nervous system with our attention. We can become skilled at doing that. Yes, and it takes time. So I appreciate that you couldn't find it is okay.
Well, does it make sense? I've been trying to figure out how to combine my old practice with what will be my new practice. And I was thinking that when a thought comes up that's like about planning or, where did I leave my car or stuff like that, maybe for those things I can say not now. But if
Yes.
it comes up as a feeling, then
Yes.
to rest with the feeling.
Yes, that's right.
And
Yeah.
is there anything else that comes up that I should rest with rather than say not now? Planning is an easy one for me.
Primarily it's the feelings. Yeah, the thoughts. The thoughts can be asked to step back. You can just be like I use the term step back instead of not now, but you can step back.
Mhm,
We don't need to go down that road right now. What's
mhm,
most important is the priority is here now. Here now. Here now. What you're trying to tell me is there then or there in the future. No,
mhm.
I'm not going to do that right now. I'll have plenty of time during the day to do that. This is here now time. Yeah.
That's very, very helpful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right, Susan.
Hi, Lama, Willa. This has been a terrific talk. Something that I haven't heard anyone talk about is people who fall in the category of highly sensitive, and working with some of this stuff. There's actually a little test you can take, and I worked with a therapist who specialized in that and family systems. It seems like one doesn't really have a choice to bypass because things are in your face all the time, and there are times I would like to bypass, you know, and um, I just feel like you feel the rawness of everything in the world, the suffering in the world, you know, and it's a bit much, you know. And so sometimes I just I don't know how to kind of keep that equilibrium that I can get to in meditation, just being in the world, because I'm feeling everything. And there's just a lot of suffering and people are miserable, and I try to be kind and be there for people, but I'm just kind of overwhelmed by the suffering in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You're not alone, Susan, with that. The world is on fire, and it's always been so. It's just that always seems more when we're in the moment with it, but it's always been so. So part of the call of our practice, part of the call of becoming a bodhisattva, a compassionate presence, is learning to lean towards, gently lean towards, instead of turn away, but gently lean towards. Which also means taking care of yourself and titrating your exposure to stimuli that overwhelm you. So there's a need to titrate our exposure to the degree that we can, a little bit, to take time to metabolize what it is that we have witnessed or are connected to. So I appreciate what you're bringing here, and I want to honor that you are an empathetic one. You are a deeply sensitive one, and that's also a powerful gift as well as a curse. If there's a gift side to it, which is that you can love deeply and feel deeply and empathize deeply. And we in practice we're working on this idea that Joan Halifax calls strong back, soft front. So sometimes working more on the strong back. You have a soft front. You have a soft front. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Carol.
Carol.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and for what's been said. I hope these make sense or come together. I know they do, but so there's one strong emotion, well, two. So one is shame. It took me a long time to name it. And where I saw it was in what I would call my own backlash to saying something. Now, I've been a long time teacher. I'm speaking now. I mean, in groups, I'm not afraid to speak. But then there's the feeling that I've said too much or I've talked too long, on and on it can go. And what really grabs me is just that. It's like I get a backlash and it's in the body. It's overwhelming. And it's lessened as I've been able to name it, acknowledge it, sit with it, just allow it to pass. But in the beginning, it could take sometimes a day or two. It was that strong. Now it's again much shorter. I don't feel like I have the idea of shame associated with it in the same way. But there's a questioning and a doubt. I've looked at it as what might be called, right, selfing. Like I'm just really, too centered on myself. And therefore, well, in some ways that's helpful because it lets me see a certain way of holding it that's helped me relax around it. And then the other part, and it may or may not be associated, is that at a certain time again in my life, I started this feeling of the fear of lack, and it was triggered by something, but I was in a period of abundance. I mean, there was no evidence to the lack, there was only the fear of. And I noticed how strong that was. And it would just resonate through my body. And I came to say that it was undermining my own well-being is the way I saw it. And I've gotten to see more clearly the habits, the patterns that are all part of it. And I also see it as maybe part of a helplessness. Because what contributes to the pattern of undermining is going into a feeling of helplessness. And then, of course, it goes on because then I start judging it. And I also feel like, well, now it's too late to, you get the idea. But those two seem to be primary for me. And and today's suggestion and practice really helps to invite and fine tune this, because before I could acknowledge the feeling and say that, yes, I'll sit with the feeling, but the kindness of inviting it and loving kindness, befriending has gotten very strong for me in the last few months. And that seems very helpful. Thanks.
Well, Carol, I just want to reflect back to you that just your level of your own self-awareness around those two, even being able to name them and describe them and see the connection between, you said initially you didn't have a name for the shame, and then you found, oh, this is what I'm feeling this sense of self-consciousness, self-judgment, shame. Oh, I got it. So just wanted to express gratitude for your expressing that process that you were in to hone in on those two and to see them, recognize them, and name them as what you are working on. And that's a real model for us too. That is the deepest of the spiritual work. In my opinion, at this point in my path, the deepest of the spiritual work is getting into the subtlety of the feeling self, and then to begin to connect to the impediment feelings, the feelings that really tangle us, that is the door to our freedom. The door is not some kind of elevated calm. The door is the feelings and the ability to meet them and to greet them and to welcome them and to process and metabolize. And that's the spice of our practice. That's the beauty in our practice. And I also want to just reflect back to you the vulnerability, and that you just shared with us something that was so deeply personal to you, and what a benefit that is to us, because that ability to be vulnerable is part of what allows us to liberate those feelings, to allow them to feel, to take them out of the closet and to say, here they are, and they're my friends, and hello, would you like to meet my friends? Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate very much your share.
Thank you. That's so helpful. And I can remember when the door shut, and this feels like, and this year earlier, it was like loving kindness just gently blew in a breeze and said, oh, my dear, this thinking mind of yours needs a friend, and this, thank you. Today, this feels like the words of the befriending. All of you feel like the witnesses of the befriending that were not there at the time. So I so appreciate it all. Thank you.
Amanda.
So I have a couple things. I definitely want to thank you for today's teaching and thank everyone who shared. Carol, it sounded like I was listening to myself. And what I have discovered is, I'm not allowed to be afraid of things. As soon as something comes up and I feel like, oh, I'm afraid of doing that, I insist that I do it a lot until I'm not afraid of it anymore. So like Carol was sharing, I frequently have the feeling that when I say something or ask a question, I instantly regret it. Like, because it was the thing I said, I feel like it was stupid and not worth saying now. So I've been really trying to push myself to say the things until I see that it's okay to say them and to ask the questions. And I just wanted to share that a lot of this practice that I've been learning here has been helping me with that.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much. Yeah. And also, just remembering that as women in this culture, I think we get messages to second guess our voices. And those are subtle messages from our culture to not trust our voices. So, there are also factors in our society that can also make that a little more intense, for gendered related factors, also race related factors, especially for people of color, and there are power dynamics in our culture, and so we some of those can really affect our sense of self-esteem, our sense of trust in our own voice. So I just want to acknowledge and to express gratitude to you, Amanda, for your standing up and in your voice and being expressing yourself. It's very beautiful. It helps us. It helps the world. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for being here on this Dharma Sunday. We always conclude our session on Sunday with a dedication. That's how we wrap up the spiritual practice and pay forward with our imagination, with our heart, whatever benefit we have received from the practice and from our time together. And we can think of that almost like, like we're taking a stone and dropping it into the pond. The dedication is like dropping it into the pond and making the prayer, may those ripples spread out to our families, communities, and to the world for the benefit of others. So please, Amanda, if you can bring up our dedication prayer, let's say it together. Thank you. And also I noticed Amanda put in the chat the donate button if you'd like to offer for our time together as one of the ways the ripples go out. It helps support our online offerings for the future. Thank you. Changchu Samcho Rinpoche Ma Che Panam Che Jorchi Che Panyam Pa Me Payam Kong Ne Kong Du Kawan. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta, compassion, dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion, unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened.